From the ashes of memory, the twin moons of Novalis cast long shadows across the valley as Captain Maya Reeves stood at the edge of the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the unfamiliar constellations above. At 43, she commanded the Nova Colony's security forces, responsible for protecting the 3 million descendants of Earth who had made this distant world their home. Maya had never seen Earth. No living human had, but like all children of Nova, she grew up with the stories, passed down through 15 generations. Still searching for answers in the stars, Captain. Maya turned to find Director Elias Chen approaching, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow from the deck lights. As head of Nova's science division, Chen had earned his reputation as the colony's most brilliant mind. "The expedition team has returned from the northern mountains," he said, his voice carrying an unusual tremor of excitement. "You need to see what they found." 2 hours later, Maya stood at the entrance of a massive cavern, staring at what was unmistakably a human-made structure embedded in the mountainside. Unlike the simple architecture of Nova Colony, this installation featured sleek lines and materials that hadn't degraded despite thousands of years of exposure. "It predates our arrival on Novalis by at least 8,000 years," Chen explained as they approached the sealed entrance. "The dating is conclusive." "That's impossible," Maya replied, running her hand along the smooth surface. "The historical archives clearly state our ancestors fled Earth with nothing but generation ships and basic survival technology. They weren't capable of reaching Novalis before us." Chen's eyes flickered with intensity. "Exactly. It took 3 days for Nova's best engineers to breach the entrance. Inside, they discovered a vast complex extending deep into the mountain. A perfectly preserved time capsule of advanced human technology." Maya led a small team through dimly lit corridors that automatically brightened as they detected human presence. "The power systems are still functional," whispered Dr. Lyra Okafor, the team's technology specialist. "This level of preservation suggests deliberate design for long-term sustainability." The central chamber contained rows of pristine equipment, weapons, ships' designs, and technology far beyond Nova's current capabilities. But it was the command center that held the greatest revelation. A holographic interface activated as Maya approached, scanning her DNA before projecting the image of a man in a uniform she didn't recognize. His eyes held the weight of tremendous loss, but his voice remained steady as he delivered a message that would forever change humanity's understanding of its past. "This is Admiral Thomas Reed of the Earth Defense Force. If you're receiving this message, you are the descendants of humanity who survived the Purge. What you've been told about Earth's destruction is a lie. Our homeworld wasn't lost to a natural catastrophe. It was deliberately targeted by the Galactic Hegemony, a coalition of advanced species who fear our potential." Stunned silence fell over the team as the recording continued. "The Hegemony discovered humanity just as we were making our first faster-than-light breakthroughs. They saw in us something that terrified them, not what we were, but what we could become. Their council voted for our extinction, claiming we were too unpredictable, too adaptable, advancing too quickly to be safely integrated into galactic society." The Admiral's hologram gestured, bringing up images of massive orbital bombardments devastating Earth's surface. Maya felt her throat tighten as she watched the annihilation of humanity's birthplace. "But some of us saw it coming. We established hidden outposts like this one throughout unexplored space, equipped with the very technology the Hegemony feared we would develop. We scattered the survivors, erased their memories of the true catastrophe to protect them from seeking premature vengeance, and planted the seeds for humanity's eventual return." The message concluded with coordinates and activation codes for other hidden bases across the galaxy, along with detailed schematics for technology that would put humanity on equal footing with their ancient destroyers. "We do not demand that you seek revenge," the Admiral said finally. "That choice belongs to your generation. But we do ask that you remember Earth and reclaim humanity's right to exist without fear. When you're ready, when you're strong enough, return to the stars with fire." In the days that followed, Nova Colony experienced a fundamental transformation as the truth spread. Maya watched from the council chambers as citizens processed generations of hidden history, their confusion giving way to resolved determination. "We can't simply ignore this," Maya argued during an emergency session with Nova's leadership. "Everything we believed about our history has been based on deliberate misdirection." "What would you have us do?" asked Councillor Park, the oldest member of Nova's governing body. "Declare war on a galactic power that doesn't even know we exist. We're talking about civilizations advanced enough to destroy Earth 9,000 years ago. What chance would we have now?" Director Chen activated a holographic display showing the technical specifications from the vault. A significant one, actually. "The technology left for us is remarkable. Not just weapons, but scientific advancements across every field. Admiral Reed and his contemporaries spent years developing counters to hegemony technology. With these blueprints, we could achieve parity within a decade." The debate lasted weeks, with the colony divided between those who advocated immediate preparation for eventual contact and those who preferred to remain hidden, safe in their anonymity. Maya found herself increasingly aligned with the former group, haunted by the images of Earth's destruction. One evening, while reviewing the Admiral's records in the vault's archive room, Maya discovered a sealed message addressed to the commander who finds this. Inside was a personal log that changed everything. "I believe the hegemony feared us because they recognize something in humanity that they've lost. Our adaptability, our drive to evolve and change," Reed had written. "Their civilization has remained virtually static for millennia. They didn't destroy Earth out of malice, but out of existential terror. They couldn't comprehend a species that embraces change as its natural state." The message continued. "Your mission isn't vengeance. It's justice, and ultimately, coexistence. Humanity deserves its place among the stars, not through conquest, but through the very qualities that frighten them. Our innovation, our resilience, our capacity to become more than we are." 6 months later, construction began on the first of Nova's advanced vessels using the vault's designs. Maya stood in the massive underground hangar, watching as the sleek ship, christened the Phoenix, took shape. Unlike the bulky transport vessels Nova had relied on for local system travel, the Phoenix featured lines that seemed to slit between dimensions, incorporating technologies that defied conventional physics. "We're implementing the stealth systems today," Lyra explained as they inspected the progress. "According to the vault data, the hegemony never developed countermeasures for this technology. They never needed to. No one could hide from them. Until now," Maya said quietly. 3 years passed as Nova transitioned from a peaceful colony to a civilization preparing for its reemergence on the galactic stage. Additional vaults were discovered across Novalis and on 2 neighboring systems, each containing pieces of humanity's true legacy. The Phoenix was joined by 4 sister ships, forming the core of what the colonists now called the Reclamation Fleet. When the Council finally voted on the mission parameters, Maya was the unanimous choice to command the expedition. As she prepared to depart, Director Chen presented her with a small metal container. "Earth soil," he explained, "preserved in the vault for 9,000 years. Admiral Reed left instructions that it should be carried by the first humans to return." Maya accepted the container reverently. "Not for revenge," she said, echoing the words that had become Nova's unofficial motto, "but for remembrance." As the Phoenix and its escort vessels prepared for departure, Maya addressed the crew from the command deck. Men and women who had trained relentlessly for this moment looked back at her with unwavering resolve. "For 15 generations, we believed we were refugees from a natural disaster, struggling to preserve what little remained of Earth's legacy," she began. "Today we know the truth. We are survivors of an attempted genocide, heirs to a civilization that refused to be erased from history. We go now not seeking war, but recognition. We carry with us not just the memory of Earth, but its promise." The Phoenix rose silently from Novalis, its revolutionary drives leaving no energy signature for distant sensors to detect. As they prepared for the jump to faster-than-light travel, Maya opened a channel to Nova Colony one last time. "We will return," she promised, "one way or another. And the galaxy will remember that humanity endures." The stars stretched and blurred as the Phoenix leaped into the void, carrying humanity's fire back to the stars that had once witnessed their destruction. After 9,000 years of silence, the children of Earth were coming home. The reckoning dawned. For 6 months, the Phoenix moved undetected through hegemony space, gathering intelligence and mapping the political landscape of the galactic power that had once ordered humanity's extinction. Maya was surprised by what they discovered: not a monolithic empire of conquest, but a complex confederation of over 200 species bound by ancient treaties and traditions. Their technology has barely advanced since Earth's destruction, Lyra reported during a strategy session in the Phoenix's command center. Just as Admiral Reed predicted, they've stagnated, focused on stability rather than innovation. Commander Darian West, Maya's second-in-command, studied the holographic display of hegemony territory. They've faced no significant challenges in millennia. No wars, no resource shortages, no existential threats. They'd forgotten how to adapt. Which makes us even more dangerous in their eyes, Maya concluded. We need to make first contact carefully, somewhere significant enough to send a message, but not so central that we'll be immediately overwhelmed. They chose Outpost Helios, a monitoring station in the Vega sector governed by a mid-level hegemony administrator. The facility was lightly defended but connected to the hegemony's primary communication network, perfect for announcing humanity's return to a galaxy that thought them extinct. The Phoenix decloaked less than a kilometer from the station, appearing seemingly from nowhere on hegemony scanners. As predicted, the station immediately initiated lockdown protocols and issued distress signals across multiple channels. "They're scrambling to understand what we are," Lyra said, monitoring the communications. "Their systems don't recognize our ship design." Maya nodded. "Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a thin, avian-like being with iridescent feathers and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. The station administrator's feather crest rose in alarm as it regarded the human crew. "This is Administrator Vex of Hegemony Outpost Helios," it said in the standard galactic trade language, which the Phoenix's systems translated effortlessly. "Identify yourselves immediately." Maya stepped forward. "I am Captain Maya Reeves of the human vessel Phoenix. We come as representatives of Nova Colony and the surviving branches of humanity." All 4 of the administrator's eyes widened. "Impossible," it whispered. "The human species was eradicated in the purification of Sector 3998, over 9 millennia past." "Not entirely," Maya replied calmly. "And we've come seeking a dialogue with the Grand Conclave of the Hegemony regarding that particular historical event." Within hours, the news of humanity's survival had spread throughout hegemony space. The Phoenix maintained position near Outpost Helios as a procession of increasingly senior officials made contact, each more agitated than the last. Maya refused to speak with anyone below the rank of sector governor, a calculated insult that forced the hegemony hierarchy to acknowledge humanity's significance. 3 days later, Governor Thulzin of the Vega sector arrived aboard a heavily armed diplomatic vessel. A member of the Noor, one of the founding species of the hegemony, Thulzin resembled a massive cephalopod encased in a water-filled exosuit adorned with ceremonial markings. "The Grand Conclave has granted me authority to speak on behalf of the hegemony," the governor announced during their first face-to-face meeting aboard a neutral station. "I must confess, Captain Reeves, your appearance has caused considerable distress among the founding councils. 9,000 years is a long time to believe a problem solved, only to have it reappear," Maya replied, intentionally using the word problem to highlight the hegemony's perspective on humanity. Thulzin's tentacles shifted in what Maya recognized as discomfort. "The action taken against your ancestral homeworld was before my species even joined the hegemony. We know it only as historical record, and yet the architects of that genocide still hold power within your conclave." Maya said. The Eldar, the Shevan Collective, the Dreth Imperium, all remain influential voices in hegemony policy. What exactly do you want, Captain? Falzin asked directly. Revenge. War? The hegemony controls thousands of worlds across 3 spiral arms. Even with your impressive technological advancements, you cannot hope to challenge our civilization. Maya activated a small projector, displaying images of Nova Colony and its sister settlements. We want recognition, acknowledgement of the crime committed against Earth, reparations for what was taken from us, and guarantees that the hegemony will never again attempt to exterminate our species. The Conclave will never admit culpability for actions taken by its predecessors, the governor insisted. It would create a dangerous precedent. Across the Vega sector, hegemony defense systems suddenly went offline as dormant programs, left by Admiral Reed's team millennia ago and awakened by the Phoenix arrival, executed their long-delayed commands. Military vessels found their weapons disabled, communications scrambled, and navigation systems compromised. The sabotage lasted precisely 7 minutes before all systems returned to normal, long enough to prove vulnerability without causing casualties. That was a fraction of what we could do, Maya told the visibly shaken governor. We don't want war, but we are prepared for it if necessary. The humanity you feared 9,000 years ago had barely left its cradle. The humanity that returns today has had generations to contemplate its place in the universe, and yours. The negotiations that followed spanned weeks, broadcast throughout hegemony space. Maya found unexpected allies among species that had joined the Confederation after Earth's destruction, many of whom were troubled by the implications of the purification doctrine. Political factions formed around competing visions of how to address humanity's return. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, Professor Zelthor of the Ancient Histories Consortium, who presented evidence that the original decision to destroy Earth had been based on falsified predictive models created by the Eldar, who had seen humans as potential rivals for their position within the hegemony hierarchy. The extinction order was not a consensus. The professor testified before a special session of the conclave that Maya attended as humanity's representative. It was a political maneuver disguised as security policy, pushed through during a period of instability. As the truth emerged, the balance of power within the hegemony shifted. Older species that had participated in Earth's destruction found themselves facing internal dissent and calls for leadership changes. Younger member civilizations began reaching out directly to Maya, expressing interest in bilateral relations with Nova and its sister colonies. 6 months after the Phoenix's appearance at Outpost Helios, the Grand Conclave convened for a historic vote. Maya stood in the ancient hall on Capital World, surrounded by representatives of 200 species, as the hegemony formally acknowledged the historic injustice committed against Earth and recognized humanity's sovereign right to exist and develop without interference. The reparations agreement that followed included territorial concessions, technology exchanges, and the establishment of a permanent human embassy within the conclave itself. Most significantly, the hegemony formally revoked the purification doctrine that had been used to justify Earth's destruction. As Maya prepared to return to Nova with news of their success, she was approached by a delegation of the Eldar, the ancient species that had most strongly advocated for humanity's extinction millennia ago. "We underestimated your kind twice," said the Eldar representative, its crystalline body reflecting the chamber's light in complex patterns. "First in fearing what you might become, then in believing we had ended your potential. We will not make such miscalculations again." Maya recognized the statement for what it was, not an apology, but an acknowledgement. "Humanity doesn't seek dominance," she replied. "We seek the right to determine our own evolution. The stars are vast enough for all of us." On the return journey to Nova, Maya spent long hours in the Phoenix's observation deck, watching the stars streak by. She thought of Admiral Reed and the foresight he had shown in planting the seeds of humanity's return. She thought of Earth, a world she would never see, but whose legacy she had helped reclaim. Most of all, She thought about the future, a future where humans would once again take their place among the stars, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals. The soil from Earth remained in its container in her quarters, its purpose fulfilled. It had witnessed humanity's return to the galactic stage, carried the memory of their homeworld back into the light. The Phoenix emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Novalis system, where 3 million descendants of Earth awaited news of their new place in the galaxy. Maya opened a channel to the colony. "This is Captain Reeves of the Phoenix," she announced. "The mission is complete. Humanity has been acknowledged. The stars remember us once more." As the Phoenix descended toward Nova Colony, Maya watched the settlement's lights grow brighter against the darkness. They had returned with fire, just as their ancestors had intended. Not the fire of vengeance, but the illuminating flame of truth, justice, and renewed possibility. Humanity's long night of exile was over. Their dawn among the stars had just begun.